First, the college football playoff is set. We have Michigan,
Yep.
who has dealt with a lot of stuff all year long, just in terms of whether you feel like it's self-inflicted or a witch hunt, however you want to characterize it. It's been a lot, right,
Mhm.
for Michigan to deal with. So here we are dealing with the Michigan bullshit. They come out and beat Alabama, who a lot of people didn't think should have actually been in the college football playoff. It seemed like a little the fix is in type deal. And
Mhm.
now and then Washington handling a great game versus uh, damn, I messed Texas. So to all the people that are saying that college football needs to be fixed, I don't know if anything needs to be fixed here. Like, it seems like college football is doing just fine on its own. And so, Bert, what do you think of one, the games, how the games are being settled? This is the last year of
Yeah.
the college
Before they
football
expand,
playoff,
right?
and before they expand to 12 teams. Um, do you have any thoughts on, like, just Michigan in general, how they had to deal with the Jim Harbaugh situation? And, like, do you think this is a good story? Do you think that they're going to, because punishments are still coming down from whatever I guess they say is happening with him? Do you see them putting an asterisk on this title?
I mean, look, everybody that listens to the show know, I particularly don't necessarily follow college football enough, but I think if you add an asterisk to this, you have to go back and add asterisks to all the other powerhouse teams that on the back end it was found out that their boosters were recruiting players and like all the other scandals that have been coming out too. Will the haters sit there and put an asterisk on it? I think absolutely, but you can't deny what the team is doing week in and week out, and particularly through the playoffs and beating the odds with these games. And great, I mean, look, great past 2 weekends of games and great bowl games all around, and of course the playoffs. But I mean, will they put one on there? Like I said, the haters will, but I mean, the kids out there playing the game, they don't care, man. They're gonna win it, get the ring, and go from there.
Yeah, you can't erase wins. They try to take away um, back in the day, Reggie Bush's Heisman, but we all know, we all watched it.
They
He
did
won
take it
that
away,
Heisman.
and they still
That's
won't
what
give
I'm
it
saying.
back to him,
And they
even
won't give it
despite the
back.
changes with the NIL and everything else like that. They're still
Shame
not
on you,
giving it back to him,
NCAA.
which is ridiculous. But I do, in that particular case, Reggie knows, man. Reggie Bush knows. He's good with it. He
We all
knows
do.
everybody's got his back. Yeah.
Right. Like the him not being recognized by the crass, aristocrats, high and mighty people of whoever's in charge
Yeah.
isn't going to take away that we watched the games. We watched him play.
Mhm.
And they made millions and millions of dollars off of his blood, sweat, and tears. And the haters for Michigan and their insistence in calling them cheaters like 24/7 every time they're on the TV. You're not going to erase the pure joy I had watching them beat Alabama, who was
Oh yeah.
basically ushered in. Okay, you call for vacated wins. These games happened. The games
Mhm.
happened, and there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is bitch and moan, and it's not going to matter because you're throwing, pebbles into the ocean. At the end of the day, Michigan did what they were supposed to do all
Mhm.
season. And I'm glad, that the rankings worked out the way they did, because I mean, basically the last third of the season, Michigan really could have been number one. They purposely didn't make them number one because of the scandal. So,
Yeah.
um, and because of that scandal, Bert, now, you know, if Michigan wins this title, there's a real chance that they may lose Jim Harbaugh. And
You think
so
so? You
they offered him this like super lifetime contract, 150 mil. I know there's a clause in there that he can't leave for the NFL.
Mhm.
And so he hasn't signed it. That's the thing. And then that scumbag, Adam Schefter, reporting that he hired agent Don Yee, right?
Mhm.
And Don Yee famously uh, representing Tom Brady and a couple of other guys out in the NFL, specifically Tom Brady when he was negotiating his exit
Mhm.
from the Patriots, and he's also a lawyer. Also represented Tom Brady during Deflategate. So now that he's representing Harbaugh as an agent, why would a college football coach need an agent, especially one that was offered $150 million in a lifetime contract from Michigan?
Yeah.
So
Do people
obviously,
want to see him back in the NFL though? That's the thing.
I think fans want to see him back in the NFL. I don't
Mm.
know if NFL people, and I'm talking about owners, players, agents, want to see him back in the NFL. I think sports media wants to see him back in the NFL because it's a good story.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think. There's not really many great dual threat coaches in sports, or at least football, right? You're either a really good college coach or you're a really good NFL coach. Jim Harbaugh was really good at both. He made it to a Super Bowl. Now, Nick Saban
Didn't
can't
win
say
it
that.
though.
I got you, but he won a lot of games with San Francisco.
He
He
did.
was very successful in San Francisco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban can't say that. Jim Harbaugh can't say that. I mean, the only one who is Pete Carroll's the only one I can think of. I mean, that's rare. Like how many college guys jump ship to the NFL and go right back to college because they can't hack it? So Pete Carroll's the only one I can think of.
Pete Carroll's the only one that I can think that held success and is still in the NFL, obviously today. You look at the likes of Nick Saban. I mean, he had like why bother? He went right back down real quick. Who else? Craig Schiano, Rutgers coach, came in, coached for a season, went right back down, right back to Rutgers. And some guys are safer there. I will say, since Harbaugh's return to college football and Michigan, it just seemed as though coaching college, granted with his success in the NFL, coaching college and his success there, just seems like it fits him better. But I understand, and obviously being successful somewhat in both and then mastering your craft at college football and having obviously building that program back to what it needed to be, giving it now a great college playoff run. I think if they do take it all, the reason he didn't sign it is because he probably wants to shop around and see what owners will toss his way. And I personally think he should stay college, but I think there's one piece of hardware that he wants and he's chasing after. So if that's the case, where would he go? Right? Would it be Chicago or Los Angeles or, I mean, I don't know.
So Chicago or Los Angeles is the place that makes a lot of sense just because they seem tailor-made for a coach to come in. You have Justin Herbert, they have Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. There's a lot to like in Los Angeles. Chicago, and he played for Los Angeles. Chicago, he also played for Chicago. He was drafted by Chicago. I think he played most of his career in Chicago. Chicago also has the most interesting future. And here's what I say. Jim Harbaugh, you call Chicago. You say, the prodigal son will return. I'll come back. You take that number 1 pick, you trade down. Go grab some more first extra picks in the draft. Not just this year, but next year, because I'm going to need them.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, get his ass out of there. We've seen enough. I can't win with this kid. Go and even if I can win, it doesn't matter. People think he's good, so you trade him for even more picks. We're just going to stockpile picks. And at that number 10 spot, you draft J.J. McCarthy, my guy, who I've just now won, and I'm projecting here, a national championship with at Michigan. I already know him. I already know what he needs. So you get me all the picks I need to build around him. We already won together. We can win for you. Jim Harbaugh, J.J. McCarthy, and the Chicago Bears could be a match made in heaven. I think it's worth a shot. Justin Fields, even if you are one of the believers that think he's good, at the end of the day, he's in I need a fresh start territory. And so move on, get what you can for him, which I think is a lot. Caleb Williams, I know people like him. I know he was highly touted, but it's hard to ignore that he kind of fizzled out at the end of the season, losing all those games. He's a USC quarterback. USC quarterbacks typically don't do well in the NFL. Played out in California. I don't know how he's going to hold up in Chicago.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy playing out there in Michigan. I know how he deals with cold weather. So, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, go to Chicago, bud. Actually, no, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm staying in Michigan. Let me be clear. But I would choose Chicago over Los Angeles simply because with Chicago, you have more room for error because if you go to LA, people are immediately expecting results. At least in Chicago, they know it's a dumpster fire and you have more to rebuild with. So people will be more patient. They'll
Hmm.
be willing to give you that year or two that in reality you probably need, right? Most likely 3 years, right? You need the year to gut the roster. You need
Yep.
a year to assess and draft, and then you need that year to put your final product together. So you need at least 2 to 3 years to get it going. And I think if it doesn't go well immediately in Los Angeles, then it's gonna get ugly. So if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I would stay at Michigan. But if I was to make the jump to the NFL, definitely head on over to Chicago.